Now we're going to go straight to my prospective guest on the programme, and they say that every picture tells a story, and that is certainly true of my guest today. Now we've been paying on the programme semi-regular visits to Kyiv to talk to British photographer Mark Neville, who now lives there and uses his photographs, if you like, to explain the story of the Ukrainian people as the war continues to rage. We'll talk to him as well, of course, about the latest from Ukraine in a moment and the reaction from the Ukrainian people amid those comments from Vladimir Putin a week or so ago that the war could be coming to an end. But first off, we're going to talk about some of his latest pictures. Mark Neville, author of Ukraine 2022-24, Diary of an Aid Worker, who's also founder of the NGO Postcode Ukraine. He joins us now on the programme. Great to have you with us as ever, Mark. Let's talk through some of your pictures then. The first one, this is a picture called Artem at Home.
Well, I particularly love this picture because this is one of the boys that we've managed to help through our charity Postcode Ukraine. And it also talks about the kind of pernicious nature of the war. So Artyom found a bullet, in his backyard, and he wanted to make a key ring out of it. So he started to saw the bullet and it exploded. He lost vision in one eye, he lost several fingers. And terribly sad, but we managed to help him support his recovery and rehabilitation. And this is him at home in his backyard. A very resilient, strong little boy, very positive.
Yeah, I mean, it really does show, that, doesn't it, the problems for children in these kind of situations.
Yeah, and there's all these millions of small stories of loss and injury going on all the time, Stuart, and this is just one small part of it. And I think when you document the war, it's almost like looking at the sun. You know, it's impossible to cover in its entirety, so you have to look in the shadows almost and find these small stories going on, which are awful, but they're all reflective of, you know, the pernicious nature of this conflict, that it affects everyone all the time.
Let's move to another one. This is Maria, an artillery commander.
Yeah. Well, I really like this picture because on the one hand, you know, this is an incredibly talented, dedicated young woman called Maria. I think she's about 25 years old. And she's an artillery commander, believe it or not. And this is on the very front line. So I spent a few hours there. And I like this picture because she's almost pulling back this camouflage netting like it's a curtain at the opera or something. You know, it's got a kind of regalness and elegance about it, which was in total contrast to what was actually happening. You know, we were hearing drones exploding nearby, big artillery gun was going off. It was complete mayhem. But as you can see, she's very serene, and there's a kind of organization, you know, methodical calmness about her, which I love.
I know what you mean. It almost looks like she's not in a war zone at all, Mark. It's beautifully framed.
Absolutely.
And everything. Spectacular bridge now. This is, I hope I'm going to pronounce it right, Obolon, is that right?
That's correct, Stuart. Yeah, Obolon. So this is in Kiev, in the city. It's a part of Kiev. And it's during the winter, obviously, and all these swans have flown down because they see there's a break in the ice on the Dnieper River, which flows through Kiev. And I like it because normally I make portraits, you know, I'm a portrait photographer, and somehow this is a portrait of this woman being photographed by someone else, but it's environmental, you know, and I could imagine that I could go close in and photograph this woman and it wouldn't be the same picture, you know, it'd be totally different. But somehow the shape of the swan's necks echoes the shape of the bridge. It's a photograph within a photograph somehow. So it kind of challenges the whole idea of environmental portraiture, which is where you take a picture of someone in their immediate surroundings, like me in my front room here. You know, you get a sense of who they are from the context in which they're being photographed.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about I mean, of course, animals is a major issue that we don't talk about quite so much. You've got the swans there. We've also got an animal rescue centre. This is an image that you took in Kharkiv, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is an amazing girl, again, called Simone, who's Swiss. And she's amazing. She's also in her, I think, early 20s, mid 20s, and she came to Ukraine specifically to help save animals on the front line. And she's apolitical. You know, she regularly risks her life to go on these frontline evacuations where they rescue animals for Animal Rescue Kharkiv. She does this like week in, week out for over a year now. And yet she's not, you know, unlike me, who's very pro-Ukraine, she's not political at all. So she would go and save animals on the Russian side as well. And I've always been fascinated by these people who don't have a political standpoint, but are nevertheless very intelligent, and they risk their lives to save an animal because they believe in the sanctity of life. You know, they think all life is sacred, and that kind of philosophy amongst someone very young and the dedication to risk their lives to do it is extraordinary. And again, there are all these very extraordinary young people all over Ukraine doing extraordinary things all the time to save life. And I've been on evacuations with Simone a couple of times, and it was bloody frightening. You know, I mean, it was really dangerous. So, you know, there's a kind of exchange there. There's a philosophy which is very sophisticated, actually. So,
Yeah.
you know, these kind of stories need to be told, you know.
Beautifully done. I mean, Mark, you certainly summed up that line I had at the top of the interview. Every picture tells a story. I mean, as you say, all those images really have something behind them as well, don't they? But Mark, tell us more generally. We're going to keep showing some of your other pictures while we talk more generally. But
Sure.
About what the feeling there is now. I mean, there do seem to be, or we've certainly been reporting over the last week or so, real signs of Ukraine starting to fight back. We had, of course, the incident in Moscow over the weekend with the drones hitting those buildings in the surrounding area. There are also talks of territory being retaken. I mean, is there more optimism? Because I think the last time we spoke, I do remember you saying nobody really knows whether Russia is holding back, waiting for some kind of summer offensive once the leaves are on the trees. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk from Putin about peace is coming, you know, the war's going to end, but, you know, I really don't believe it. You know, I've been living here since the war in 22 escalated, and I've heard it a lot, you know, this kind of faux peace offer. And it's a kind of psychological game, really. So imagine if you're running a marathon and someone tells you, oh, the finish line is just round the corner, and you get round the corner, and then someone says, no, not really, you know, you've got another 50 miles to run. And so it's a bit like that. And there's an amazing writer, Holocaust survivor called Viktor Frankl, and he talked about the people who coped and survived the concentration camps weren't the people who thought this is going to get better tomorrow, and they weren't the people who thought, you know, this is going to end in 10, 15 years. They were the people who said, I'm going to get by through this day by day, one day at a time. And that's when I look around my friends, my colleagues, people who are coping with the war as best they can, it's those people who are coping with it best. They just take one day at a time, and they don't listen to someone like Putin or anyone else saying, oh, the war's going to be over within 2 months, or it's going to end this year. And conversely, they don't think it's going to, you know, take 10 years to finish.
So you don't give any credence then to the feeling that Vladimir Putin will have to find a way out of this because things aren't going his way anymore?
Well, I think there's an element of truth to that. I don't dispute that he must be under pressure, and that obviously the Moscow elite aren't happy now because the war's coming directly to their doorstep. But, you know, we also had information that, you know, Moscow's broke now. They've got no money. Russia's going to go bankrupt. They won't be able to afford to fight this war. And that's not true. I mean, I totally dispel those ideas that, you know, Russia is somehow bankrupt, that they have no money left, that they're not going to continue. I mean, we had a lot of reports 2 or 3 days ago that actually Russia was going to launch another full-blown invasion, and it was going to come next month probably. So again, I don't know what to believe, and none of us know really what to believe, but we hear these stories and they're always conflicting. And it's a bit like this Orwellian doublespeak, war is peace, peace is war. And so the end result is you don't really know what to believe, and it's emotionally traumatic to become involved with these stories because the reverse is normally true. So I actually don't think that the war is going to end soon. I mean, I hope it does, of course, with all my heart. I've been to so many funerals now, friends, colleagues, and I see we're all exhausted. We're all absolutely exhausted, Stuart. It's been psychologically tough.
Mark, we'll
But
have to leave it there.
nevertheless,
Mark, we'll have to leave it there. But I mean,
okay.
it's good to get your views
Sure.
and to get that understanding from Kyiv. And of course, best of luck to you and all your friends and colleagues there joining us from Kyiv. Mark Neville,
Great
British
to see you,
photographer.
Stuart. Thank you.
We'll talk to you again before the summer is out as well. And then Mark's been taking some videos as well, so we'll show you some of those next time we talk to Mark in a month or so's time. Mark Neville there joining us from Kyiv.